In this presentation, I will be introducing my research project that is looking to see if there is a correlation between the length of time a third culture kid spends in an IB visual arts program and their level of sense of belonging. To begin, it is important for me to define who a third culture kid is and explain what their unique characteristics and needs are. This is important for educators to know so they can support a third culture kid's special needs in and outside of the classroom. The definition of a third culture kid is an individual who, having spent a significant part of their developmental years in a culture other than the parent's culture, develops a sense of relationship to all of the cultures while not having full ownership in any. Elements of each culture are incorporated to others of similar experiences. Third culture kids develop unique characteristics that include flexibility and easy ability to relate to other cultures. They have a higher social sensitivity, hold tolerant views, and are good communicators, but they also struggle with their identity development because they often feel like they are from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The question, "Where are you from?" can be one of the toughest for a third culture kid to answer. Their sense of belonging is 3 times stronger to relationships than to a particular country. Third culture kids tend to have a feeling of rootlessness that is developed from their mobile lifestyle. Knowing the struggle that a third culture kid goes through to develop their sense of identity is important for educators so that they can offer the right kind of support in and outside of the classroom. That's why this study is looking to see if art can be a helpful support for our third culture kids. The purpose of this correlational study will be to look to see if there is a relationship between a third culture kid's sense of identity and the length of time they have spent in an IB Visual Arts diploma program. The null hypothesis for this study is there is no correlation between the length of time a third culture kid has been enrolled in a DP visual art program and their level of sense of belonging. The experimental importance of this study will be set at a Pearson R value of 0.7 and an alpha value of 0.05. The research question being asked is if a relationship exists between the amount of time a third culture kid participates in a visual art program and their level of sense of identity. The hypothesis is that one who spends 1 or more years in an art program have a stronger sense of identity than one who spends less than 1 year. This study is significant because it will help educators determine if third culture kids who participate in a DP visual art program for 1 or more years have a stronger sense of identity when compared to third culture kids who are in the program for less than 1 year. The population for this study is 200 students attending an international school in either Brazil, North America, Norway, Spain, Turkey, South Africa, China, or Australia. A minimum sample of 132 participants were required for this study, and 135 participated. To collect data needed for this study, third culture kids will be asked to complete a 2-part survey at the end of each term. The first part of the survey will ask students how long they have been in the DP Visual Art program. The second part of the survey will be 25 questions from the Dimensions of Identity scale. The Dimension of Identity Development Scale is a longitudinal measurement in variance that poses that identity is a process consisting of 5 aspects: exploration in breadth, commitment making, ruminative exploration, exploration in depth, and identification with commitments. After the 2-part survey has been completed, a scatter plot will be used to determine if there is a direct or indirect correlation between the length of time a third culture kid has been enrolled in a DP visual art program and their level of sense of identity. The scatter plot revealed that there is a positive correlation between the length of time a third culture kid is enrolled in a DP visual art program and the level of their sense of belonging. However, the correlation did not turn out to be as strong as I hoped, With a Pearson R of 0.36, this is a medium strength correlation according to Cohen. In conclusion, although there was a positive correlation, it proved to be less than I expected and not enough to be considered a strong correlation. Further, the coefficient of determination ended up being 12.96%, so there was some overlap between the variables, but again, not enough to strongly support each other. As far as future research goes, I would suggest surveying the same students from their first term in a DP visual art program to their last, which would result in 4 surveys for each participant. The data used to complete this project only included 1 survey for each participant, which may have been the reason for a medium strength correlation. I would also suggest broadening the survey and looking to see whether or not art can support younger third culture kids and their unique needs as international students living in a country that is not the same as their parents' passport country. I wonder if art helps them find their place in a home away from home. In conclusion, although the results of this study did not find a strong correlation between the length of time a third culture kid is enrolled in a DP visual arts program and their level of sense of belonging, I am still not convinced that third culture kids do not benefit from being enrolled in a visual arts program. This project has taught me a lot, and ultimately I do not think I used the most appropriate test for my research question. Into the future, I will continue to explore this question with different statistical tests such as ANOVA. However, I appreciate what I have learned in this class and certainly feel several steps closer to my dissertation.